In the recent GTC 2025, Jensen Huang quote like agentic AI is the future.
We discovered we need to build something in agentic AI before even world knew that there is something called agentic AI.
Internet can be accessed by anyone, right? AI is the first. After that, I think, where you can say it can be used by anyone.
So founders, as leaders in the ecosystem, we should think of how we can empower our team with agentic AI. That's rather than thinking that, okay, I'll replace them. AI is like a co-pilot. It will learn and grow with us.
I think AI is not like taking jobs away, it's redistributing the job ecosystem itself.
Hello guys, welcome to the next episode of Impactables with Risav. Today we have Ajay Yadav, founder of Otto AI. Welcome Ajay. Welcome to India first.
Thank you, man. Yeah, good to be here.
How are you feeling after coming back to India?
It's good, man. I mean, I've been visiting, more frequently now. Every 4 months. It's always exciting. And I guess I've been sort of making this whole circle at, say, Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, once in a while Goa, but I've been keeping tab on like what's happening in the country, right? Like this, the tech scene especially. So it's super exciting to always visit back.
So what was the main reason, like what made you shift to LA or US?
I mean, LA kind of happened to be, but I grew up in India. I left the country when I was 17-ish, turning 18, because I failed my high school twice actually, so 12th grade. And then my dads were like, if you want to do it, then I think you should go abroad, because he didn't see me as a fit to the Indian ecosystem, because he was like, you're going to compete with like IITs and some of the best talent in India, right? These kids are studying so hard. So for the lack of a better word, he thought I was definitely not smart enough to compete. So I applied to US colleges and then ended up leaving the country. It's been now 19 plus years now in the States.
Okay.
Then I spent a bunch of time in New York, lived in Mexico for almost a year, and then went to California.
Interesting. So like what is the major change when you see yourself, like definitely you are born and brought up here.
Yeah.
When you became an adult, I believe, then you shifted to US. In the major shift, like half of your life you've been staying in US now.
Yeah, finally more than half.
So what is this major change which you have seen in yourself or in the personal capacity as a founder working from India and working from abroad or the US?
Oh man, so many differences in culture differences, of course. I mean, I think the big thing has been around I think I've been around innovation, right? I mean, the US is, I think is one of the best in the world when it comes to innovation, because they have the whole world, the talent pool, right? Like wants to be in the US. So I was always around the best and the brightest people. Second is always the big change that I think helped me was to learn to think really big. That was big. And I think if you think how big of a company you want to build, then I think my first question that someone asked me was around how many zeros in $1 billion, right? Or how big of a company you want to build. And it has to be $1 billion, like regardless of whatever you believe in. So you think like you're forced to think that way, and then sometimes you are scared to even give an answer. But over time, when everybody else talks about it, you get more comfortable. Like recently, one of my mentors, he asked me, building now from a new company, that, hey, we should grow 5x. And to be honest, I was like not comfortable saying yes to that, because I've gone like 3x, or 2x, more like 3x every year in all of my companies in different stages of their companies. 5x was like a stretch. And it took me a while. I kind of got a hold of it, because now the AI has enabled us to grow that fast. But now I believe we can grow 10x.
True.
Right. So it's like now I say to him, it's like, hey, I think we can grow 10x, and 10x is the number that I want to go for. So it's like that thinking, I think, is still hard here in India. Not everywhere, but most places, I'll say. And if you can make an argument that maybe Bangalore, oh yeah, we think of growing 10x, but that's not what you're looking as India as a whole, right? It's a very, very few, 1 or 2 places in India. But the US, majority of the places will think really big. Like we have to be in billions of dollars, or we can grow fast because everybody else can do it faster, right? The first company to go and make $10 million, $20 million, $40 million in the shortest time always comes from the US. So you feel like it's so natural for the next person to think like, fuck, if they can do it, I can do it as well, right? Like we both live here, we both met
We
each
can do
other, or
this.
we have seen, or we've heard about these companies. So that does not happen that often still in India, but I think India is on a path of massive hyper growth, and this
But
just
the
gonna
dynamics
happen.
are changing now because if you see, like there are few companies in India also. Like I
Yeah.
won't say all, few companies in the recent timings we have seen that them growing in a super crazy.
fast, yeah. I mean, it's going to happen, right? It's like the talent is learning, they're getting ambitious, right? It's also the environment, right? I think Shark Tank sort of like educated India about startups, right? Like what? Nothing.
But fairly not in a right manner also sometimes.
It doesn't, and that's the irony, right? That's the irony is that you have to learn about startups from Shark Tank,
Exactly.
not like from entrepreneurs and startups that are driving India's growth, right? So that shows you a lot about like where the country is, and I think, but that awareness is important at first level of the stage to sort of like grow, and where everybody thinks that they can do well for themselves.
Okay, so like I will be deep diving more into the recent topic and the space which you are building in agentic AI. In the recent GTC 2025, Jensen Huang, founder of Adobe,
Yeah.
he did quote like agentic AI is the future in the 2 hours long speech. Like how do you feel that it is going to shape the global economy or global startup ecosystem as a whole?
I mean, yeah, Nvidia. I mean, shock. Nvidia is one of those time-defining or maybe like history-defining companies for us, right? Or future-defining companies for us. I think the fact that what they mean when they say this kind of stuff, that this is gonna equalize or maybe bring opportunities to everyone, is that there's always been a barrier, right? There's always been like a skill barrier where you somehow work for 5 or 10 years and you acquire this skill, mostly going through college because you can go and get better education, or you build the skills because you have the money to spend on those courses and classes, whatever that looks like, right? Or you became an engineer and somehow your mind works like that and I'm not good at like coding, right? I think AI is that level playing field technology where finally everybody, I think there's been few things like that in our lifetime. Internet is one of them. Internet can be accessed by anyone. Right? AI is the first. After that, I think, where you can say it can be used by anyone. Right? That itself is empowering for every single individual, right? And once anyone can bring their dreams to life, right? Imagine the website I never built before, the app I never built before. I have an idea, but I need an engineer. I have an idea, but I need to build a business person. I have an idea, I need a marketer, right? So now you have an idea, and then you can just tell AI and you can build it. That has never happened, that direct shift of impact, right? And I think another big thing that has happened with AI, why this is so big, is that there's technology where the impact doesn't turn into money, right? Like you can use it, you can use internet sort of, and some can make money, some cannot make money, right? But this is one direct thing that if you sort of use it to make money, you eventually end up kind of making money. True. Because it has the money-making ability for anyone in the world.
But don't you think like this particular entire ecosystem as a whole is gonna reduce the shift towards the workforce or the type of people the industry already they're working around? Most of the developers or can be some kind of hardcore jobs like customer support executives, all those things. So it's impacting that particular roles?
I mean, I think it's going to impact every role, right? It's going to impact every role. I think I was the one maybe saying back in the days that, oh, AI is not here to take your jobs. But I think AI is not like taking jobs away. It's redistributing the job ecosystem itself, right? So I think what's going to happen, the support person that's mediocre would have to be a better support person, right? The support person that is really amazing is going to think about, hey, why do I work for someone? I'm going to start my own maybe consulting app, courses, whatever the heck they can, maybe own technology company that can help other companies use their knowledge, right? It's like the transfer of knowledge has the power, the money, right? So that's going to happen. And I think in case of engineers, the same exact logic applies, right? I think you're going to have engineers building the core technology, but you're also going to have engineers helping you push the AI technology to the finish line. Because we're not there where 100% of all the work can be done with AI, right? There's a tiny piece that is left, maybe 5%, maybe 10% that requires...
Needs to be refined.
Yes, needs to be refined, needs to be pushed, needs to be published, needs to be checked again, right? Reviewed again. So the job, I think, role changes.
Job role changed.
Yeah.
Smartness comes into the picture.
100%, more learning happens, right? I mean, education happens at a massive scale. And everything is very personalized, that also happens, right? But I would say the one big change that is going to happen is the tens and millions of companies and businesses that would exist in the future because people are going to choose to have their own businesses, either full-time or part-time. So that is a really, really big deal. And I think I'm pretty bullish on this idea that tens of millions of companies are going to be out there. So the GDP of the world kind of like goes up because there's more wealth being created by everyone. I mean, there's 7 billion of us. Come on, there's something to offer to everyone, right? Sometimes if you think about fairly in a simple term, if I charge you $10 for something and I have 1,000 customers a month, I'm just asking 1,000 from 7 billion.
True that.
Right? How many millions of people can have those 1,000 paying that much money, right? Even $5. So that is the smallest scale idea you can think of. So I think more businesses can exist and we can all make more money.
Okay, so like since you are one building in this particular sector, Otto AI, and when we talk about this finance as a whole, India, you have seen finance infrastructure as a whole. UPI is one which has grown, like it's been loved by globally.
Yeah.
What do you think, like how it is gonna change the shift towards the BFSI sector, and as a whole, how it's impacting the individuals and small business owners, your particular like company, Otto AI? Can you throw some light on that?
I mean, I think one of the things you think about, like especially SMB, right? I care about SMB a lot. When you have this MSME in India, right, and or maybe small businesses in the US or enterprises in the US, right? The thing with these businesses, most times they're really good at creating businesses and running them, but often maybe lack of the financial team or not good at numbers, right? And as a business, you have to know your numbers, right? I mean, we've all made mistakes. So many founders make mistakes all day long because we just have to learn the hard way, right? So I think if you can allow people to manage their finances better and take that time away they spend on admin tasks, like maybe 4 hours to 10 hours a week, right? From payroll or, you know, APAR, accounting, or maybe taxes, maybe compliance, right? All the time can be given back to them in terms of like growing the business. So I think that is the biggest change that's going to happen. And why it happens is because AI can finally do that really, really well. Right? The agents, the precision has gone up. So if you have, I think I call it like anything that is like cognitive overload in humans, repetitive tasks again and again, that does not make the humans smarter, should be replaced by agents. Think about it. If you data entry all day, does it make you a better person? Does it make you smarter in any capacity anyway? Transfer the knowledge to the agent. And you can maybe do a better job in designing better workflows for the agent, maybe, right? You can do more stuff where you get paid higher for managing the workflow instead of being that sort of the input in and input out, right? Basically.
This is where the interesting fact comes around, like when people used to do everything on pen and paper, computer came.
Yep.
People thought that our jobs will go
away.
This is the same scenario which I believe in.
Yeah.
Like people are thinking that jobs are going to go, or like will be impacted to a very high level actually.
Yeah.
But it believes a certain change. This change will take 5-10 years, and I think again it will be normal.
Yeah.
People will get used to it. That's what people need to understand.
I mean, it's already happening, right? How you search, like I now use Perplexity a lot more. I use voice a lot more with ChatGPT, right? I mean, I do my journaling now. I talk to ChatGPT, trying to make it my thought partner. Perplexity does all these things, searches for me. We are changing how we use information, how we access information using AI, right? It's going to become a norm, right? So I think when that becomes a norm, either you can be on the sidelines of like watching and waiting, or you can be a part of the whole movement that's going to happen, right? So I think it's here to stay, and everybody needs to kind of keep leveling up to sort of keep up with the technology.
In this whole scenario, like it's been a while since AI as a boom, like everyone is talking around about this particular words from past 2 or 3 years mostly. Yeah. Like any scenario which you have came across, which is very unusual according to a situation what happened, and it has impacted humanity as a whole. Like we see that someone has faked someone video or face actually to call someone, etc. All those things.
Yeah.
Any use case which you found across which was very scary and shouldn't be done by a particular person?
I mean, I think, it's with everyone, right? I mean, you have scams happening today, with or without AI, right? I think video is one good example. Photos is a good example, right? Voice is a good example. I think anything that exists that can be manipulated for you, right? In your voice, in your video, in your pictures, signatures, right? There's a lot of bad stuff that's going to happen, but I think the way we look at it is, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. There's always an opportunity to stop that, right? When everybody started writing using AI, there's a bunch of companies that came out to detect AI writing, right? Just to inform people that it's been
Exactly.
written by AI, right? So now there's money to be made in that business, right? I think if you look at vibe coding, when people are building apps, Cloudflare is developing bot management systems and spam, just all these things, right? So they're trying to protect these apps that are not secure at all, to secure them without the end user being the best in security, right? So I think we'll have new businesses being developed because of these loopholes that people are gonna find.
Which industry do you think like is gonna be bring the major of the changes actually? Like for example, if we have seen that you are doing something in the finance industry, like it might be e-commerce or
Yeah.
might be in supply chain. So which industries do you think we are gonna have the heavily impact of AI, where I believe 50% of the work can be replaced by AI? Which industry do you think?
I think, I mean, it's hard to just pinpoint that, but I think the service industry is going to be impacted
True.
the most in the best way possible.
Correct.
Like the people are calling the AI agencies now, right? Or accounting firms. Like I think we're kind of sort of like almost becoming a service as a software company where it's an accounting tax business, but AI powers all of it, right?
Okay.
So there's a human element to it, but it's all done by AI, right? So the margin goes up from 40% to let's say 70%, even 80%. So you act like a software company, but underneath there's a small element that is like a service-based industry, right? So every service business starts to become more profitable. It starts to compete with software companies, purely software companies, because I think if you think about small businesses, right, in service industry, they've all done better in many ways than a software company. They've mostly been profitable, right? The only problem has been a lower margin. Another big problem has been the scale. They haven't been able to scale as fast as a software company, right? Because the margins don't allow them to spend the money to scale the company, right? Now they unlock the higher margin AI, and now they can use that capital to scale. So finally, there's a level playing field where better businesses challenge startups that are losing and burning money to think how can they compete in a similar industry. So I think the service-based industry, the whole layer with AI, automation, AI-powered systems, is going to do a number, do a magic.
It just reduces the time and the capacity of the person, increase the capacity of the person
Yeah.
actually, which I also personally feel like in running my company.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 10 employees, they can do a job of 100, right?
Exactly.
Everybody makes more money because this concept of like revenue per employee is really big right now.
Increase, because every other particular person used to see that particular member, that
Yeah.
how much I'm gonna make from this particular employee.
Yeah, and the less number of employees can take more money home because the employee per employee, right? The money
Increase,
revenue
yeah.
per employee has gone up. If that goes up, then the distribution can happen with a very few than a large. Then everybody has these small agencies or small businesses that are hyper also personalized or hyper vertical actually. Solves one problem really well, and then you build your market in that category.
So people like who are very reluctant, like there are so many people out there, like I believe like to use AI because they think that things will go away, like my data is going, or like I might get scammed, certain like this. So do you think that those people will be the heavily impacted ones down the line if you see 4 to 5 years from now? Because what happens, they are still not getting used to it. I believe people need to start using how to use AI more than just to type that how to make a pizza or how to make a roti.
Agree. I mean, there's a lot of this happening all day, right? I think, I mean, I don't know if they should get on the AI bandwagon all at once. You also want people who are naysayers, non-believers, questioning a lot of stuff, right? Because what it does, it allows the people on the other side to be challenged, and maybe they have a lot of good things that comes out of it, right? So they'll make the AI better, safer. There's real concerns on the other side as well, right? But I think in terms of like getting on board to AI, it's like internet, right? Not everybody has used internet. Yes, majority of us do use internet, right? I think there's going to be a small portion that would slowly, gradually get there. But I think it's going to be faster than the internet because it has this real use case where it does help you from day-to-day tasks to more hyper-personalized professional tasks.
Interesting. So like when we understood like about the agentic AI and lot many other things, like when you are in US, like after building so many companies, 2 or 3 companies, raising multi-million dollars, and seeing the impact what you have created into different companies, and while investing also. So what was the major challenges which you faced in building these companies, and what could have been different challenges you could have faced while building from India?
Oh man, I've never built from India, you know.
No, when you see some companies out there,
Yeah.
you
I
must be seeing that this is one thing I will avoid.
I think in India, I was talking to Naveen as well about this one. India, what you have to understand is a very different market, right? You have to be on the ground, but also you have to be on the ground in the US as well if you're building from India to the US, right? The things I noticed here is one, if you build this for a very short term, you're gonna fail.
True.
This country is gonna eat you alive, right? Basically spit you out pretty quickly. The competition is tough. Because when something works in early sign, everybody,
Will come to you.
Everybody is gonna do the same thing, right? Because the sheer number.
Quick delivery is the perfect example for this one.
Yep. Everybody's doing it, right? And it makes you either better or you die, right? You succeed or you die. So I think here I would play the long game. And with my previous company Simplified, we've been playing the long game in India, right? Like millions and millions of people have used the platform right now. And I think that as long as the company survives India for the very long run, right? Like 10 years, it becomes the household name. And as they start spending more and more money, you get a big chunk piece of that, right? So I think even if I build now and I'm building now, right? India is not a part of the picture, but India is a long-term picture, right? Plan. Because if we even allow the software to be available in India, even for free, then that is a game we can play as long as the US customers pay the cost to support India as a whole for us, right? So that's the play. So you have to understand the country really well from a pricing perspective, and how long would it take to succeed, and what do you have to do to win the trust of people. It has to be hyper localized, right? Because the language, the businesses, the ICPs are very different, right? The persona is very different. So you have to always make sure that you keep the customers in mind or users in mind, even though they're not paying, but listen to them and build something that they would love to use.
Interesting. So there's a huge shift towards hiring from 100 people to 100 people building unicorns or billion-dollar companies. Now we are seeing that 5 to 10 team members are also building unicorn companies. And also I have seen one company which was having only 2 team members build a unicorn business.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on this? How people are implementing the AI workflows, or we say that agentic AIs into their daily processes or involvements?
I think what happened if you look at so let's look at maybe how the companies have been funded, started, and growing, right? And growth part. So maybe 5-10 years ago, when I was building my first company, right? The way people did it is you have an idea, you raise a lot of money, and you grew really fast, right? And then grow as fast as you can, and the revenue would someday will figure it out. Then I think after that, sort of the phase came where they said, okay, you still started the company, still raise a lot of capital, but try to get to revenue as fast as you can so that the revenue multiplies faster, right? In both these approaches, what happened, a lot of the money was raised for 2 main reasons. So you raise a lot of money so you can spend on marketing and growth, right?
True.
So you burn a lot of money, and then you spend a lot of money hiring a lot of people, right? Sales, engineers, marketing, ops, and whatnot. So most money went to either people,
70%, I
right?
believe.
Yeah, people, and then the second major portion went to the marketing cost. What AI did is with this agentic workflows, right? It's hey, now I can start to replace a function of workflow, right, with agents. So now if I had 10 people doing the same job, right, because the workload was much higher, let's say team of support representatives, 10 people. Now I can have 1 person and have agents doing the job for those 10, not even 10, but 100 people. So now if I had 100 people, I might need only 10 or maybe 5-person team. So just the nature of how AI came in and built agentic workflows, if I raise the same money I raise to hire people, where's the money gonna go? You can't burn all the money on marketing, right? Because that's not effective. Your CAC goes up and you're not profitable, you're burning too much money. So basically, I don't need the money.
True.
Because I won't hire a lot of people. So now what we're seeing, the same company that was run by 100 is run by 5, 2, or even 1 now, right? So more and more companies will be smaller, almost like solo, or maybe a team of less than 10. and they'll do same revenue as worth 100,
100
even
people.
500 actually.
But for the betterment for the audience out there, like who's been our viewers actually, they're like most of the people might be starting something with AI.
Yeah.
There are two sides of it. Number one, I want to build something on AI.
Yeah.
The AI agents or simplifying any workflows for any particular sector.
Yeah.
And the second side, as a business owner, AI is new to me.
Yeah.
But I want to implement AI agents to my business actually. How these two combinations can work along with each other in a better way to solve a common problem for both these people.
I mean, I think the thing is, like we're building Otto AI now, right? We're building an AI company and adding AI agents to do the job, right? At the same time.
Can you break down this process, like to build a perfect AI agent for any particular sector or any kind of a workflow?
So as an example, one of the first agents we're building now is, let's say, landing page writer, right?
Got it.
So now I would hire multiple people. I would hire a researcher, I would hire a designer, right? I would hire someone who can do the publishing and management of the content, right? And then I would hire a web developer, right? That's like coding the web flow and whatnot pages. I'm trying to replace all of that.
Okay.
So one person just does all of it. Basically, the one person manages the workflow. We build, let's say, 20 agents. One does the research, takes the research, finds the best, basically, pages, ranking, whatever that is, writes a copy, goes through the review process. We input, so the human inputs the features, and we can even take the features from some sort of internal database, right? Improves the copy, and then writes a code, designs the page, publishes the page, right? And then needs to ping the page and see the results and the speed, the optimization. So all of that can be done using all AI. So one agent can do, let's say, in 5 or 10 minutes, one page. Now we can keep running the agent. I can do 10, 20, 50 pages a day, right?
So me as an individual starting my business today, just giving a proper information to these agents, 10 people work can be solved. This is what we are heading towards.
Even yeah. And I think the way you look at it is I would argue that, or I would suggest, anyone who's doing any job, let's say a team job, I want someone to write down that on a piece of paper. That person one does this, then they do this, then they do this, then it goes to person 2 or 3 maybe, then they do this. Draw it out your workflow.
Okay.
That's your workflow, right? It's not complicated. Take that and use tools, of course, like N8N or Gumloop or even simplified workflow engine, right? And then you try to mimic, can I find something on the internet that is an application, is an API, I can use it to do it, right? It might take you a couple of days, maybe a couple of hours to figure this out. But that's what workflow is. And those are the job they're doing, the small things, the nodes are the agents that are running to do a specific job, one job at a time, and passing on to the next agent to do the next job, right? And you'll quickly realize all that process done by these people now is all automated by just one workflow engine. Now you can do job faster, and maybe you can reutilize that team to do something else, right? And that is the idea, that you can now build a team by one person or maybe a few people, right? That will do great in numbers by just managing agents that does a job for you. And it's 24/7, and it's a high accuracy as well.
So in this entire structure, when we have the physical team, 4 members team, building a website, for example, landing page. But when it comes to agent and AI actually, so we see a common workflow, or we need to use some different tools in order to solve this particular problem?
I think you can use a workflow builder, and then you can build multiple different types of workflows, right? Now, as an example, if I have to now do support. So what happens is support, we have an internal team of accountants, as an example, for Otto, right? So we basically are all in one platform, financial OS for small businesses. We help them with accounting, taxes, invoicing, legal documents and whatnot, compliance. Now, in this case, what's happening, a customer is usually asking, hey, can I write off my car payment?
Okay.
Or I'm working from home, I have a home office, can I write off my home office expense, right? Or can I expense this meal? Very simple questions. But now somehow what happens is each business is very, very different. In this case, imagine I have a human have to remember each customer, might have to go somewhere to find information on that customer, some database or something like that. Then you have to also remember, how do you talk to this customer versus that customer?
True.
Some prefer a polite, some prefer a direct approach, some prefer text message, some prefer an email, some prefer this time versus that time. So many things to remember, and you're always going to miss X, Y, Z something. And sometimes the customers are already given that information to you that are also hard to remember what have they given, what they've not given. An AI agent can keep all of that into account, right? And you can just ask and literally get the exact answer that you have to tell the customer, or AI can take on that customer directly. You don't even have to manage the conversation by itself. You can be just watching. And whenever AI agent fails, it can just ping you to come into the conversation and help the AI agent solve that discussion, right?
To understand more deeply to this, in Otto AI, I'm an individual business owner running my, say, suppose, CA firm. Like, I have around 10 CAs now,
Yeah.
for example. How my CAs can increase their efficiency, say, suppose they have one particular client who is again a small SME. He sends the bills in like haphazard way, in not a proper manner. Also doesn't keep a record of credit debit.
Yeah.
Or how to make the balance sheet, all those things. How this particular problem can be solved via Otto AI for that particular CA to solve a bigger problem for the SME.
Yeah, really good question, man. So I think one thing we've been in the building at Otto is like, hey, we started the solution for small businesses, owners, right? And as we did that, we ended up building an accounting firm inside the company because that's what solved the problem, right? And so the software kind of was built for the end user, but also for the accounting firms or the CA firms, right? Because we had to do that to interact with the software ourselves so we can solve the customer's problem, right? So I think what happens in this scenario, we'll be offering Otto AI for accounting firms, of course, that can use a much better interface that has all the memory of each customer, all the context of each customer, easy to send reports and that are digestible by the end user. Because sometimes what happens is I have a CA or let's say CP in the US and I'm asking a question, right? Now the CP might not remember everything that we've had, all the chats in the last 1 or maybe 5 or 10 years, right? And then they might ask you to remind themselves about this information. Now that's not a good user experience.
Exactly.
I've already told you, right, that information. Maybe I sent you this document 3 years ago. Now that is relevant to this discussion. We should have that information, right? Now, sometimes the customer likes the information in a certain format that the CA doesn't have the time or the CPA doesn't want to do this job in a certain way for the customer, right? So we allow each accounting firm to be what it can be for each customer. So be very much personalized, because that's what AI allows you to do, right? It can be hyper personalized for each and every individual, how the individual wants to consume that information, interact with that accountant. So it helps them scale the user experience, number one, take on more clients without increasing the team size and have a higher margin, basically.
And if I'm an individual, actually, let's say from the perspective of individual, a law firm or an accounting firm, anyone. So if I see from the individual perspective, I'm only the single business owner running operations, onboarding clients, finances. The major challenge what everyone faces, which I have seen, is number one, keeping record of all the debits.
Yeah.
That is a pain point. People pay here and there and they just forget it. Down the line, when you go for accounting for the financial year, which we are doing now, people start the CA firm or anyone from whom they're getting the accounting done actually.
Yeah.
They ask you, where did you pay this money in 29th of April 2024?
Yeah.
I'm like, where? So me as an individual, if for the debit part actually, that's a very critical segment. Credit is okay, people will remember who has paid the money.
Yeah.
For debit actually as a whole, when we expend a lot actually for an individual, how this can help me in my entire process?
I think sometimes, you know what it is, though, our primary customer is an individual business owner in the US, right? And I think it's about forming context around the expense itself. Let's say this morning I took a flight, right? Now I booked my flight somehow, somewhere, right? And then I went to the airport, I was with my colleagues and I had a breakfast, right?
True.
Now, in some of my email, I have somewhere boarding pass sitting around in my email for the flight, right? It also has sitting around some plans or some email exchange Slack messages about me and my colleague going for work for something, right? Now, I don't have to ask that to you. I already have the context. I can just confirm the context from you, right? Then around the same time before the flight takes off, we have a breakfast. I know you're going for work. I know I'm going with my colleagues, and we had a breakfast for the same exact thing. Hopefully it's all expensible, and I have the entire memory of that. And I can also access your text messages around the discussion, right? So I think it's our job to remember the context and have you present in a way that you can say, hey, this is confirmed.
Okay, so I can just put that information in that particular thing and it can be...
I mean, we'll take that automatically.
Okay.
Right? Because to your emails,
Emails.
text messages, email,
Got it.
access to all the information, right? So I
So you
think
can just spend around and it will be automatically fetch that into the system and it can make the entire report of that.
hyper personalized for each individual businesses and also type of businesses, right?
This is one thing which I wanted actually, because again, what happens most of the time actually, this is a major pain point which I believe this agent is solving.
It's massive.
Now people are building some, again, random stuff also which is not required. I'll be very frank on this. People are building something which is not even required. This is one thing which, that's why I asked you this particular question, that how it will read my messages or spends, because throughout the day, from today morning till evening actually, I scanned Paytm around 7 times. Now if you ask me tomorrow, where did I do that? I will not remember it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all doing that, right? It's like everybody's like sending UPIs left and right. We have no idea, right? And recurring transactions are happening, certain times are happening, certain places are happening. So you have to remember a lot of context, right? And where is that Paytm? Where is that location? Blah, 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 whatever that is, right? No, I think we're very excited about building that. We're already building the layer to understand the context more and more, and I think hopefully solve the problem.
For Indian SMEs, this can be a bigger use case because
Massive use case,
over here the payments are very fast.
Yes.
And we also forget very fast.
Yep.
And it can be a bigger use case for here in India.
Yeah, I mean, we'll allow the Indian audience to, business owners to connect their bank accounts. I think maybe end of the year sometime. So they can allow to at least do that, right? And maybe we might allow just to have them bank statement uploads, and then we'll just find the information and at least do the basic, start there somewhere. Yeah.
True. So now there's one more interesting word which I come across on my day-to-day basis, not day-to-day basis, but I came across with multiple folks which I am working along. Majorly when I am talking to people, my friends or clients from European countries or US, like they say vibe coding.
Yeah.
So this word is very new.
Yeah.
Just like when people started using AI, then LLM came. Now the trending word is agentic AI.
Agentic AI. Yes.
Now this vibe coding as a whole, I believe after 4 or 5 months, I believe everyone will start using this word.
Everybody start using it.
So what's the difference and what is this actually, how this is impacting and how going to change the entire industry?
So coding is one of those things where you just can't do it because you want to code.
Okay.
You have to be skilled at coding. You have to learn the skill, be able to go to school, college, or go to these boot camps, right? Like to learn how to code, right? So that skill is not for everyone, and use specifically to build, of course, technology companies and apps and websites and whatever products you're building, right? Now everybody has an idea. Oh my God, maybe I can launch my recipe app or something like that, right? I want to launch my running club or something. I want to build my own social media network, or maybe I want to build a LinkedIn for myself. I want to build my own dating app that I have an idea. Everybody has an idea, right?
True.
But to execute the idea, you've always wanted to work with an engineer who can code, because you can't code, but I have an idea, right? I have a unique idea and I have my own insights. So vibe coding is a concept where any individual who is not an engineer, most primarily, can use AI, write a very simple prompt or simple message, and the AI will help develop your website ideas, apps, and bring it to life, right? And people are using tools like, of course, Bolt, Lovable, Replit, Cursor, Windsurf. There's so many of them. Or Hey Boss is a new one now. So all these apps and tools are helping any individual in the world to build their apps, websites, or bring their ideas to life.
But will not it be replacing that hardcore grunt developers actually, who used to code whole day to develop like normal websites or mobile applications? The grunt work actually, not the logical ones.
I mean, definitely would do that, right? And that's what happens to these engineers now. They have to work harder to kind of rise above, right? Be much better at coding itself, much specialized engineers as well, right? But that's what AI does, right? But I think we'll still need a ton of engineers. Once my vibe code project is ready and I can push it, maybe I need these changes that the AI is not able to do. I can have the finish, the 10% of the job done by the engineer, right? So that's going to happen too. I think we'll have a lot more engineers support vibe coders that are going to become supporting engineers to those projects. And the engineers itself can learn how to code better using vibe coding as well, right? So they can be better engineers in general. So vibe coding is going to be a massive phenomenon. It's like almost that's how you unlock tens and millions of businesses. And as they do that, everybody of these companies, we want to power them using Otto AI so we can manage the finances while they go and build their businesses.
So, like interesting fact comes around when someone builds into this agentic AI space or anything which is simplifying the workflow, like for an individual, how much money they should raise or how much money they should have in order to build such kind of workflows, which is impacting the any particular problem statement very heavily. For example, the problem statement which you are solving. I told you my problem.
Yeah.
That I scan through whole day. I don't remember where I did.
Yeah.
So this is a good problem to solve
Yeah.
via agentic AI. Similar to this, if in some case people are solving another problem
Yeah.
for any other different sector, like how much money is required or how much money a person should raise actually, because this will be a bigger question around it, like
Yeah.
raising money versus building the product.
I think, and this is a really good question, man. I think the conversation has completely changed around money. I've raised now $30+ million now in both of my companies, even more. And I think now with this company, I really haven't started raising capital at all. I raised some angel, friends and family because new people, they love the idea. I gave them a demo and they wanted to give the money, right? So got my friends and family in for a couple of $100,000. But what I realized with this one, I don't really want to raise money yet, number one. And I don't want to raise a lot of money because I don't need to hire so many people. I only have one of my co-founders technical. Single-handedly, he built the entire backend by himself. Most of the front end is built by himself. We have maybe one sort of like part-time, full-time junior front-end guy that does help with design and everything, but the rest is all done by my co-founder. I do all growth, product. There's not many people. I have one co-founder who does all finance, ops, accounting, and all this stuff, right? So we're like three of us, maybe a few part-time people, one or two people. We don't need, so if I raise millions,
Where will it?
what would I do with that, right? So the question is not raising capital. The question is kind of becoming, what do we do with the money? It somehow has never happened in my life before, where I'm like actually sitting and asking, why do we even need to raise money? Right?
But there's a dilemma actually. When I used to see founders, 21 to 23
Yeah.
actually, they said, I will raise money, I will raise more money, but I will keep that in my bank account. It will help me in future.
Yes.
So now, is this particular pattern is being shifted or the mindset being
Completely
shifted?
has shifted, right? Because that money, was useful because if something went wrong, you still had a lot of people to feed,
Okay.
right? So think of it, teams cannot go down, right? Because you couldn't figure out the problem in the right specific time frame. So you needed more time, so that money in the bank gave you security. That maybe we don't hit this number by this day, we might need an extra runway for the next 12 months. So the money in the bank will help me. Because if you're not doing well, you can't raise more money, right? In our scenario now, you feel like, okay, even if it sits in the bank, we're not going to hire more people. And we have less people to maintain, and we're making money from day one, right? Because the way we build Otto, this time Otto AI, is I'm now reaching 50 customers now. So this all happened, barely any growth, haven't run any campaigns, just happening naturally, some experiments here and there. And it's already doing 6-figure revenue, ARR. So it's like, we're making enough money that I take very little money every month to put into extra stuff that we cannot pay from our revenue. We haven't raised money because we're not there to a place where the product feels like super amazing, right? Because we're going to work more on the product side. So we're choosing intentionally to go deeper in the product cycle. So we have this awesome, amazing product. Once we have this, then we know we'll compete at a level where this is a better product, superior product than any other product out there. And that's when it makes much more fun to raise these millions of dollars. Then we only scale. I think venture-backed companies, venture should serve only one purpose, and that's scale. Building should not be a part of it, unless you're building deep tech.
So this is again, not only shifting the industry, but also the mindset now of raising money. Because I've been running my company from 2019, but 2017 I started working. During that time, I saw and I believed raising money is the only thing.
Only way to do it.
But then I realized in 2021, after running business for 2 or 3 years, being profitable, I decided I'm not going to answer this particular guy's question every day morning.
Yes.
Then that mindset shift for me.
Yes.
But 2020-24 taught me that people were raising money to save money in the bank account. Now the one which you answered in 2025 It's not about raising money now.
Not really about money now. And you don't dilute, right? I'm not selling most of my company that we end up owning early on that has higher value because the cheapest equity is the first equity, right? If you can save that first set of equity 10%, 5%, 20% from selling early stage when it's worth nothing, you end up taking more money home. And then you kind of have the freedom. I'm kind of my own boss for real, right? If we have only raised a couple $100,000, angel money, something doesn't work out, we can return the money.
But why this particular mindset shift is happening very frequently now? Because personally,
because you can do it. The thing is, you couldn't do it before. The money was the factor that was needed to succeed in most cases.
Because 2010 till 2022, money was the only factor to grow the business. But till today, now the different factors are coming to the picture.
Because the thing is the building, right? Like all of my, I'm two engineers, right? When I co-founded an engineer, both of them are using AI
Okay.
to expedite the coding. Think about it. I am using literally AI, vibe coding. Like I vibe code with my co-founder. I design the prototypes now for him using vibe coding.
And you are not engineer by profession.
Funny enough, I'm an engineer by degree. But yes, I haven't coded.
Just like me.
I haven't coded in 10 years, more than
Exactly.
15 years now, right? So I'm not an engineer, I would say, in that sense. So I give him prototype using vibe coding. He takes it, he puts in the system, and then we can have a designer refine it. That speed within, I'm saying 30 minutes, completely not possible without a designer. Imagine the cycle of design. You have a concept, you draw it out, then they do research, they give the first draft, it takes days, then you refine the draft, then something happens, bunch of feedback back and forth, then goes to the engineers, and then he applies and codes the design. Now we do this in 30 minutes. This wasn't possible before. So I think just the sheer that it is possible today, we don't need to raise money. For what? What are we gonna raise money for? I just spent $2 on the AI just to do this job, right? So more and more of this being developed. Our growth engine is running on all in AI. More and more of that is happening through AI, right? So why do I have to hire people?
So, again, this you'll be the right person to answer this also. Like since you've been running Simplified for more than 10 years, and then you started with Otto. Like, what are the things which you thought that I have done mistakes in Simplified? I'm not going to repeat over here.
I mean, my first company ran for 10 years, Simplified for almost 4.
Okay, I'm really sorry. So
No, it's okay. It's totally fine, right? It's almost. I mean, it's a fairly new company. It started in 2020, actually, right?
Okay.
So
So the first company was Rumi, right?
Rumi, yeah, the first
okay, so
company,
10 plus years.
Yeah, 10 years roughly. And I think the mistakes is, always you become better. But I think all I can tell is my learnings have been have a small team. Less people means less management problems. Everybody's happier. Get to revenue faster.
Okay.
Go deep in your product. Go as deep as you can. Launch less features. You don't have to ship. Shipping fast is a thing you should do, but shipping fast is like fixing bugs, going deep, ship as fast as you can, right? But you don't always have to launch a lot of features, right, basically. Be vertical, have vertical ICP. That means you're solving for a very narrow window, narrow type of customers, right? Specific use case. I can say accounting for photographers versus accounting for everyone, right? Or software, finance software for everyone. So I think you can be niche. And then I think raise as little as possible, right? And once you see the moment you can scale, raise as much as you fucking can. Just go, blow it out of the water, right? Just go as big as you can, as fast as you can. So I think these are some of the principles I've kind of like taken with me now that I'm applying in the new company. And they're working pretty well already.
And you have been into both sides of like major two countries which we talk about, India, US. Like India is the land of services actually.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Like people believe in service. But again, the second thing arises as a mindset, which is also true sometimes, which I believe, that people tend to that we want to onboard US companies as our clients.
Yes.
Like because this is question from everyone. I see personally, every other 10 companies after they just started, instead of serving the Indian clients, they go after running the US.
Course, yeah.
And they don't do it in a proper way.
Yeah.
They just spam you via emails, via LinkedIn DMs, all across. That doesn't set a good example for those particular companies on the mindset of US companies actually, or the representative of that. So what is the best way, practices a person should imply in order to onboard good companies sitting out in India?
I think the thing with when you want to get a US client, I think let's say given this India, right? I think Indian agencies or Indian business owners, right, what they should do first is maybe spend some time learning about the US market itself. One is market. Second, try to learn about the US culture. It's very important. How are people? What do they like? What do they don't like, right? Maybe I would say we take some classes online about how do you speak to them? What are some of the things that you can say, you cannot say? What is a no starter? What is a yes starter, right? Stuff like that. I think just learn about the culture, because one specific thing I'll tell you what the US clients do not like, or in my opinion at least, is that they like a direct answer. So let's say they ask you, hey, can you do podcast editing? And let's say you only do shorts editing, right? So you might say yes, because the common answer is like the Indian agencies thinking, I don't want to lose the client. But what they want to hear is no. Hey, we cannot do podcast editing. We haven't done it. We're a very specialized service in short form editing. I can recommend you to someone, but that's something we do not offer.
So the thing around like you cannot revolve that person here and there.
Simple, just
Simple.
be straightforward, right?
Exactly.
So this is what it is. If you said, I'll deliver the project within a week, do within a week. If we're running behind, send them a message maybe 48 hours before that.
This
hey,
is what I say to all my team members.
You have to
Like
do that.
if you, like for Indian companies also,
Yeah.
what a perfect example which I have given to all the people in agencies business in India. You are my brand customer or client. Like I am serving you. I have something to deliver today by night.
Yeah.
I'll get that particular sense that in the afternoon itself that it is not going to complete. Instead of telling you tomorrow morning, if I tell you today evening or afternoon, you will get less furious on me.
Just I think, it's and you're right, less furious for sure, but I think about it like this, right? I think it's that I'm on it. I didn't expect this. Something happened.
True.
I think we need this much more time to get it delivered, but we'll deliver. I think it's just the transparency in the process that really helps a lot, right? And I think the second thing is also what people have burned through these. A lot of US clients have been burned by delivering shitty services or products or
That's
whatever,
right.
and they've been charged the money, right? I think it's best to say, hey, we deliver. If something goes wrong, we're here to accommodate the changes.
Exactly.
All will refund the money, because service above all is what you're selling, right? And delivering what you sold, right, basically is a big deal. So don't lie, try to scam, try to fabricate stuff, try to make these deadlines, timelines, they don't exist, right? Just deliver on time, give them what you offered them. If you can't do it, refund the money, because as a whole, as an industry, can be saved by that, right? Because one bad actor, people don't want to work with any Indian agency or clients, right? That happens a lot, actually.
Interesting. It was like lovely speaking with you, like with an ending notes, like people who are building in AI actually. What is the one major key takeaway they should keep in mind while building in AI? Anything?
I would just say if you use some tools on a daily basis, anything. I'll give you a simple example. If you're using, let's say, a form, let's say you fill a lot of forms online, right? Or maybe use calendar app or something, or maybe use some CRM or something. Whatever you're using today online that you spend money on and takes a lot of time, I will highly recommend you to take that and ask AI to rebuild it for you. So you can learn how to build real life projects that you spend money on and see if vibe coding is for you, and you can build and you can launch it. So get your hands dirty, but get your hands dirty on things that you pay for and see if AI can replicate that for you for almost no cost.
With this, thank you so much, Ajay, for being here. And it was lovely speaking with you after connecting for around 2 or 3 years
2 or 3
online.
years, yeah.
And like seeing you and meeting you and speaking with you on this podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Definitely do. Yeah, thank you for having me.
With this, thank you so much, guys, for being to our episode. And thank you so much. See you again in another episode.